Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, who is beneficent and the merciful. Dear students, welcome back to another lecture of 4 class from your book, New Oxford Modern English, written by Nicholas Horsburgh and Clara Horsburgh. My name is Ms. Zaitun Niazi and my Zoom ID is 713-796-2278. Do not feel shy to contact me on Zoom. Dear students, topic displayed in front of you, that is letter writing. It is taken from your unit number 1, Pippi Longstocking, and from page number 5, challenge. Here, what is letter? Letter is a written or printed communication directed to a person or organization. Means you are writing a letter to an organization or a person about taking any info or giving them any info. Here is the sample or a format of a letter. That how can you write a formal letter? There are many types of letters. Those are formal, informal, and many types of letters. So this is the format of a formal lesson. This is the format of a formal letter. On the first place, your contact information will go with the letter. On the second place, you will write the date. In the third place, your contact information. This information is of the person or the company you are writing to. Next would go salutation or greetings, and then comes the main part of the letter, which is body of the letter. This may comprise of 2 to 3 paragraphs. First paragraph should provide the introduction. Second paragraph provide more info and specific detailing, and the last paragraph should restate the reason you are writing and thank the reader for reviewing your request. At the last but not the least, you will close your letter by writing some closing remarks like thanks and best wishes. At the end, you will write your name and sign the letter. Here are some tips before writing the letter. Number 1. Examine the tone of the letter to which you are going to respond. That, are you going to write a formal letter or an informal letter? Identify your audience and purpose in order to determine the type of a letter you will write, either formal or informal. First, the purpose must be clear into your minds. Analyze your reader. How? That who is your reader? Who is going to read that letter which you are going to write? Will my reader be favorable or unfavorably disposed to what I am going to say? Means that whether the reader is going to agree with the statements which I am writing in the letter or not. How is the mechanism to write a letter? Letter mechanics. I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. Yes, these are pronouns. The use of personal pronouns is important in the letter, like I, he, she, it, we, they, and you. In a letter, do not refer to yourself in the third person by using the writer. Like you cannot write, the writer wanted you to come here, but you will write the statement, I want you to come here and visit my place. It is perfectly natural and appropriate to refer to yourself as I and to the reader as you.
Continuing the previous slide about letter mechanics, here are some focal points on which we are going to focus. Focus and specificity. Be focused. When you are writing a letter, be focused about the subject matter. Write concise and purposeful letter. Do not deviate from the subject that you are writing one thing and the other and all the ideas are jumbled up. It would be a mess at the end. Do not write confused or overlong letter. As I told you before that it would be a mess. And also do not be rude. Do not use the rude wordings or those sentences in which the reader might feel that you are insulting him or her. Do not try to impress with your writing. That is, please and very, very, very thank you or thank you so much, so very much. Do not use these kind of expressions. Here is the type number 1, which is informal letters. These are the letters which keep us in touch with family and friends. These are usually chatty and informal. When we need to communicate a lot of information, when we want to communicate something that is difficult to say face to face, then we used to write these letters. These are 2 points that when we communicate a lot of information and we are not able to call that person or we are not able to informally or formally ask that person or verbally ask that person, then we use this type of letter, which is informal letter. And to mark some special occasion also we use this type of letter. Here is the format of this letter. You will start with the sender's address, then the date, then greetings, salutation, and after that the main body of the letter, then closing, and after closing you will write your name and sign it. Here is the video in which you will watch that how can you start your letter. But here is a little clear video that this video is on the previous and old format of writing a letter. That is, when they start writing the letter, it would be by the side of right hand. They will start writing the address from the right hand, but in the new British format you will write this letter from the left hand. You will start writing the letter from left hand and you will end your letter by the side of left hand. Now let us watch a video. All other steps are the same. Dear students, Dear students, it must be clear into your minds that why do we write formal letters? What is the purpose of writing a formal letter? And what is the format of writing a formal letter? I give you the clearance before that you will start your letter from left hand side and you will end your letter by left hand side. Now here is the second form of the letter, that is formal letters. These letters are letters to people whom we don't know on a personal level. Those informal letters were when we want to talk too much and when we want to ask somebody a lot of information about something, then we write those letters. And formal letters are the letters to people whom we don't know on personal level, like institute level, like on institute level, like the boss of any company, like the director of any company, like to the librarian of a public library. We can write these letters to these kind of people, like to find out information. Like if we are writing the letter to a librarian of a public library, what kind of information we want? We want that what kind of books are there in a public library. And to apply for a job. Obviously, we don't know about that company, then we will write that letter about finding the information. And to make a complaint, if you're writing that letter to any government personnel, then you want to write that letter about taking the information or about complaining something. Now the next is about semi-formal letters. This is the third type of the letter, which is semi-formal letter. Let us see that how these letters are different from first two. These semi-formal letters are written to those persons who are somehow you know them, like those people who are not so much close to you, that we don't know them very well. Like compare some expressions of informal and semi-formal letters. Here is the comparison of those two. Like informal letter, if you write an informal letter, then your statement would be like this: I'm sorry, but I can't come on Friday night. But if you are writing that letter in semi-formal style, what would you write? I am afraid I won't be able to come on Friday in the evening. See, this is much more elaborative. You are elaborating the reason, you are discussing that reason in detail, that I am afraid I won't be able to come on Friday in the evening. And then informal, I don't like the food. Simply, you are telling a person that you don't like the food. But in semi-formal letter, you can't be rude or you can't be so straightforward so that the reader might take it personally. That how would you ask that? I was dissatisfied with the food. Now, before proceeding towards the next part of the letter and the lecture, let us see what is in it. Here are some things to remember while writing a letter, like the points to ponder, that how can we write a letter, or if we are writing a letter, then what are the main components or what are the main headings which we must know before writing a letter. Then it is clearly shown in the video. Go and watch the video. Here again, I want to clear one thing, that this video is about the old format In new format, you will write the letter and you will start your letter by left side and end it on the left
Must
side
be
as well.
included in every letter.
So this is tip.
Today, we're going to learn how to write a letter. Letter writing is a fun way to communicate with others. When we begin writing a letter, the first thing we have to decide is who we are writing to. This is known as the audience. Your audience may be formal if it is someone important you are writing to or someone you don't know very well. Informal letters are written to people you know well, like your grandma, cousin, or friend. There are 5 parts that must be included in every letter: the date, salutation or greeting, body, closing, and signature. The date goes at the top of your letter. It lets the person you are writing to know when you wrote the letter. Next, you must add the salutation or greeting. An informal or friendly letter will usually begin with "Dear," the person's name, and always ends with a comma. After the salutation comes the body of the letter. The body is very important because it is where you communicate your thoughts, ideas, and questions. The body of the letter always needs to be written in chronological order or in a sequence. The closing and signature come after the body. The closing shows the letter has ended. Depending on who you're writing to, you may say "your friend, comma, love, comma, or sincerely, comma." On the next line, after the comma, you write or sign your name or signature. Letter writing is a fun way to communicate with people all over the world. Remember, when you are writing a letter, you need to include 5 parts: the date, salutation or greeting, body, closing, and signature.
Further, we discussed the types so many times. So two main categories of the letter are formal and informal, which are personal letters or business letters. Personal letters are a type of letter or informal composition that usually concerns personal matters rather than professional concern and is sent from one individual to another. And business letters, these are formal letters, a letter written in formal language, usually used when writing from one business organization to another. Obviously, personal letters you will write to some family members, to friends. Further elaborating the term personal letter, it is a kind of letter that we write to our family and friends, like parents, close relatives, and close friends. Here are some parts of a personal or informal letter. Why I am emphasizing much on informal letter? Because at the end you are going to write this letter by yourself with these tips. Here is a picture which is very much descriptive and elaborative. It is given a title of friendly letter, then head is with header, and the face is marked with greetings, and body is marked with body, then closing, and then signature. So here are also some points which you can easily remember, that in header you will write my address, your address, then date. In header you will write your address and date. Then in greetings you will write greetings. Salutation means the way you're starting your letter. Then in body, you will write introduction and explanation. After that, you will close your letter like your sincerely and best wishes, like that. At the end, you will sign and write your name. Here is the example of writing a personal letter or letter to a family or an informal letter. Write a letter to your friend Mona telling her about your visit to countryside. This is the format of the letter, how you are going to write the letter. First, you will write the address, then the date. Address is PO Box number 1, Karachi, Pakistan, and date you will write today's date. You will not give the heading of date, but you will write today's date. Then you are going to greet Mona with Dear Mona, and at the end of the address you will put full stop, and at the end of your friend's name you will put a comma. And now here is the main body of the letter, that is, this summer was great. I traveled to a countryside with my family. First, let me tell you about my flight. And now here you can write about the flight, that it was very good. We traveled on PIA or any other airline, and we add something over there or not. This you can write over here. The first day was wonderful. Now she is in the countryside and she is telling that the first day was wonderful. We went to lots of interesting places. For example, if she is in Karachi now and she is telling us about from there, then she can visit the Qaid's Mausoleum and she can tell us about that. So as you can see, I really enjoyed my visit to countryside and I want you to come here too. You can conclude your letter like that, and I will write again soon. Best wishes. These are the closing sentences and statements. Then over here you will write your name and sign. Here is your homework. After looking at the format and watching those videos, also all that discussion, now what you are going to do. This is about the challenge on the page of your exercise, Pippi Longstocking, and this challenge is about, imagine that you are Tommy and Annika. Remember, these two are siblings who were standing on the gate and they were thinking that whether this day is going to be a dull day or they'll find a playmate. Write a letter to a friend to tell them all about your new neighbor, Pippi Longstocking. Now what you have to do, you have to imagine that you are either Tommy. If you're a boy, your name is Tommy. It's a game, okay? And if you're a girl, your name is Annika. And now think that Pippi Longstocking is living next door to you, that she is your neighbor. And now you have to describe her, you have to write everything about her, and this letter you will send to your friend. Like, you can use the details from the story, such as description of Pippi in the 3rd paragraph to help you. You can use those words from the reading or the lines from the reading as well. Use the layout of the letter given at the end of this book. Here is the format of that letter. At start, you will write the address, then you will write the date. After that, you will greet your friend by writing dear friend, and then you will come to the main body, that is into 2 or 3 paragraphs. At the end, you will close your letter with best wishes. After this, here is a quick recap of everything, what you will include in your letter and what you should not. You should include this checklist, that your address and date the letter was written, and the name of the address of the person to whom the letter is being sent, a salutation like dear, like greeting, the body of the letter, a complimentary close and signature, and a title of respect such as Dr. Mr. Here are some things which you are not going to include into your letter. That is the wrong information and slangs and ununderstandable dialect. You will not use the words which are spoken into your place differently, and to whom you are writing this letter, there they pronounce those words differently. And then money or valuables into the letter. You will not put your money or valuables into the letter, because for that you can send money order or a parcel. This is this is again This is again to remind you some keys of the letter: address, margins, date, inside of the letter, salutation, body, ending remarks, then date, then your signatures. Here is a picture. This will remind you about the clarity and conciseness of the writing the letter. That these are some tips to improve written and spoken expressions. All of us communicate every day. The better we communicate, the more credibility we'll have with one another. You have to remember these 7 C's. First C is clear. Be sure to check that your message or goal is clear. Number second C is concise. Stick to the point and keep it brief. You do not have to add extra information which is not required. Then is concrete. Does the message have a real goal or an object? That you have to decide and also check. Then correct. Does the message fit the audience? If what you are writing that is good for those audience. Then coherent. Does the message flow and can it be followed? And then complete. Is the message through this letter which you are giving is thorough and include an action plan? And number 7 is courteousness. Is the message friendly, open and honest? So first C is clear, second is concise, concrete, correct, coherent, complete and courteous. Well, thank you so much, dear students. This was all about your letter writing, and in the next session or lecture, you will find out more about either Pippi Longstocking or your lesson number 2. If you're having some questions regarding this letter format, go to your book, open the page at the end, which is page number 117, and then you will find the whole format over there. Till then, thank you so much. Stay safe, stay strong, and Allah Hafiz.